Hello Year 6, today we're going to be creating our own paint program, so let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So we've got a pen here that when you click it can draw on the screen, and we can change the colour at the bottom. We can also change the width of the pencil to make it a thicker line or a thinner line. We also have an eraser that erases our work, and we also have a clear all button. So let's get started. After you've logged into Scratch, click on Create. We first need to add the pen extension to our program. So on the bottom left, you're going to click Add Extension, and we're going to click the pen extension. And then you can see it adds all of these options for the pen tool. So first of all, we're going to delete our cat sprite, and we need to add our pencil and eraser sprite. So click on Choose a Sprite and search, and then you can search for pencil and click. Now there's no eraser sprite on Scratch, so go on Google and search pencil eraser clip art and go to images, then go to tools and change the colour to transparent. You can choose any eraser that you like and just make sure it has a transparent background. So I'm going to right click, save image as. Going to save it in my downloads folder and call it eraser and click save. Then go back to Scratch and click on choose a sprite and upload a sprite, and we're going to choose the eraser. We need to change the size, it's quite big, so possibly 20, and then move it into position, and then click on the pencil and we can change that size to 70. Now if we were to control this pencil, the middle of the pencil is this middle part here, but you don't draw with that part of the pencil. So we're going to go to costumes, and we want to move the pencil so that the midpoint is not at this part but at the pencil tip where you're going to draw. So you need to click on the mouse tool and select, and then you're going to drag the pencil so that the tip is touching the midpoint. So now when we move the pencil, it should be moving from the pencil tip. The first piece of code that we need is to make the pencil follow the mouse. So we need to go to Events, when flag clicked, and then to Control, we want this to be happening forever when we run the game, so drag the forever block. We then want the motion block and click Go To. We don't want it to go to a random position, we want it to follow the mouse pointer. So when I press green, the pencil is now following my mouse. We then need to add some code so that when we click with our mouse, it's going to draw. So there's two new blocks here, which are pen down and pen up. So just like on paper, if your pen is down, you can write, but if your pen is up, then you can't write on the paper. So it follows the same mechanism. So we need to check with an if-else block if the mouse is being clicked. So we need to go to Sensing, and if mouse down, then we'll go to the pen blocks. We want our pen to be pressed down. But if we're not clicking, we want our pen to be up. We now need to create the different coloured pencils. So you're going to click on your pencil sprite and go to costumes. We can go ahead and delete pencil B, and I'm going to call this blue pencil. Then you can click on the paint bucket tool and then choose the colour, and then click inside the pencil. You can then right click this and duplicate, and you can change this colour to green, and of course you can do any colour that you like. So we're going to go to green and then click inside the pencil. So now we have the two colours there. Next we need to add a sprite to click on to change the colour of the pencil. So we need a blue square and a green square. So go to choose a sprite and paint. Now make sure when you draw the square that you draw it in the centre of the square, so the midpoint should be in the middle. So when you click on it in the middle, it will detect it, and you can change the name here. We then need to duplicate the sprite, not the costume. So right click green and click duplicate, and then change that to blue. Then go to costumes and change the fill to blue, and use the paint bucket tool to change the colour. we can then move these colours into position. And we have our first two colours for our program. We now need to add code that is going to change the colour of the pencil when we click on the coloured square. So we're going to click on the green sprite and we need to go to events. So when we click on this sprite, so when this sprite clicked, we want it to broadcast a message. So what this does is it sends a message to all of the program that green has been clicked, and then after we can code what happens after green has been clicked. So broadcast message, and then click on this, and we want to create a new message and call it green. We then need to go back to pencil, and we will go to events, and then it says here when I receive a message. So what will happen when the message is received that green has been clicked? So when I receive green, we want to change the colour of the pen to green. So click the colour picker tool and choose the green from the stage. And of course we need to change the costume so that it uses the green pencil. So go to looks and switch costume to and make sure it's green pencil. We're going to repeat the same with the blue sprite. So click the blue sprite and go to events. When sprite's clicked, we want to broadcast a new message, so click on that and click new message and type blue, then return to the pencil, and when I receive blue, we want to switch the costume to blue and set the colour of the pen to blue as well. So drag that there, click the colour, choose the colour picker and click on blue. If I click on blue, I can then draw in blue. Now the pencil's not working correctly at the moment, but we'll fix that later. If you want to erase the screen, you can just click erase all on the side. We now need to set the default colour at the beginning of our code. So we need to set the pen colour to blue at the beginning, and we want the costume to be set to blue as well. So switch costume to blue. So if I change it to green and then I start again, it changes back to blue, which is the first colour. You can then go ahead and add more colours if you like. It doesn't just have to be the primary colours. You can choose lots of other colours such as pink and purple and other colours. We now need to add a clear button so that it clears the whole page. So we're going to add the X block. So we can go to Sprite and then search, and if you type X, they have a few X's, but I like this one. Drag it next to the eraser on the side here. So we'll go to events, and when this sprite clicked, we'll go to pen. We want to erase everything. So if I click this sprite, it rubbed off that line that I had there. We now need to add the eraser. So what we can do is use this here. So we'll go to events, and when this sprite clicked, we want to broadcast a new message. So we'll click on that and we'll click new message and we'll type erase and click OK. Then return to the pencil and go to when I receive erase. We want to change our pencil to this costume. So if we go to costumes, I can add a costume here for the eraser. So I'm going to upload a costume and choose the eraser. You can then select it, so click the selection tool and drag, and then you can make it smaller so that it matches the size of the pencil, and make sure you drag it in the middle. If I go back to the code, I'm going to go to looks and switch costume to eraser, and then set the pen colour to white so that it matches the background and looks like you've rubbed everything off. So set it to white by dragging it all the way down and up. Let's press go, so we have blue, and then we can draw. If I click the eraser, I can then erase what I've done. At the moment it's not working that well, and we'll fix that in a second. So one of the problems that we have with our code is that when we choose the next colour, it can actually draw underneath, and we don't want that happening. So to address that, we need to add some code. So click on the pencil sprite, and we need to add this code here. So we need to make sure that the pencil is not able to draw below this part here. So if the mouse is down and mouse Y position is greater than minus 120, then you can draw. Otherwise, you can't draw. So we can keep our code on the side here. And we need an operator block. So we need the AND block. We need to drag that inside. So if the mouse is down, so drag that inside there. And we need the greater than operator, drag that inside. And if the mouse Y position, so go to sensing and drag mouse Y, is greater than minus 120, then pen down. So if mouse down and mouse Y are greater than minus 120, then we can draw. So now hopefully I should be able to choose the colour more easily and it won't draw underneath. It doesn't seem to really detect if we're on the eraser and we click the colour, so it doesn't always work, so I wouldn't worry too much. I would just stop and start again, and then you can use the pen tools. I think there's some issues with the mouse, but that's okay. We are now going to add the width variable. So we'll go to variables and make a new variable, and we're going to call it width and press OK. We are then going to set the pen size to that width. So in the if block, we'll go to pen and set pen size to, so drag that here underneath pen down, and then we're going to go to variables and drag the width into there. So if you click the variable at the top, you can actually change its appearance, and we want it to have the slider. So if I slide it to 50, it's now going to draw a really thick line. If I change it to 20, it's going to draw a thinner line. If I do it 100, it's a really big line. Now if I click the eraser, it's going to erase that and use the same width. And remember, it doesn't always detect and change if we click the colour, so you can just stop and start again. We can click clear all, and we can start drawing. There's a challenge here where it says you can use keyboard commands to change the colour. So for example, if you type the blue key, then it can switch to the blue pencil. So I can show you how to do that. So we need to go to when flag clicked, and then we need to go to control and make sure that it's always checking for this. We then need the if then block inside the forever block, and we need to detect using the if key pressed block if the B key is being pressed. So if it is, we want to broadcast a new message for blue. So let's have a go. So if I change the colour to green and then I type with blue, it's then going to change the colour. And then you can add more of these colours. And then if I click on the eraser and I type instead of clicking, it changes quicker. So then that could be a solution that you use. Have fun creating your own paint program, and remember, you can add lots of colours, you can change the design of your pencil and your eraser, you can change the width, and also you can add some shortcuts on your keyboard. Remember to save your work. We'll call this paint box. So we'll call this paint box and go to file and save now. If you want to share this project with me, you can click share, and then you can copy this link at the top and you can post it on the Year 6 computing team